Should you have a lead magnet or not as a B2B consultant or agency owner? Most B2B marketers would say, yes, definitely do a lead magnet, but is it really worth the hassle and the effort? In this video, I'm going to tell you in which situation you do not need a lead magnet and when it is actually a really good idea to actively not have one. My name is Michael Bohannes. I help B2B consultants and agency owners build client acquisition systems and stop being dependent on referrals. And lead magnets come up frequently as a topic. Many people recommend it, and you come across so many lead magnets yourself, and you see competitors who have great looking lead magnets so that you develop a certain level of lead magnet envy. So what should you do? I say that you do not need a lead magnet if your goal is to get to $1 million in revenue as a solo consultant without permanent staff. And if you're reaching this goal by selling high-ticket B2B services or high-value products. If you're on a different path, for example, if you just want to become famous, you want to build an email list, you want to build a large following so you can sell them low-ticket products, totally different story, and maybe a lead magnet in that case is the right choice. But for high-ticket B2B services and consulting offers, you don't need a lead magnet. And I say this as someone who's built a multi-six-figure business selling coaching and agency services. We're aiming at $350,000 in revenue this year, probably more, and we're doing this at a 65 to 70% profit margin. And I can clearly see the path from here to $1 million in revenue using exactly the same model. But there is one condition for you not needing a lead magnet, and that is your service needs to be sellable to strangers via a simple approach. So for example, via cold email or via LinkedIn DMs, that needs to be possible. You approaching, let's say, 100 people in your niche and booking whatever 3 to 5 sales calls from it and maybe converting one of them, that is a prerequisite that you do not need a lead magnet. Now, if you haven't done cold outreach before, then how will you know if this offer of yours is sellable in this way? Some offers are very hard or almost impossible to sell to strangers using only outreach. And I have another video that I'm going to be linking to in the description. And in that video, I discussed 7 factors that, if they are not in your favor, make it very hard to book sales calls with potential clients in your niche. And so if your critical density test, CDT, score is very low, you're going to have a really hard time doing that. And in that case, a lead magnet is indeed a very good idea so that people get gradually warmed up to you, remember you, and then book a call with you when they need to. For example, one of our clients is a classic strategy consultant. He helps CEOs of mid-sized companies to work on their company strategy. And for that kind of service, he needs a lot of trust and familiarity. CEOs of 500 employee companies, they don't just give strategy consulting assignments willy-nilly to strangers who approach them via cold email. And so in his case, we're helping him to build a classic value ladder where he starts with a free webinar and then we gradually upsell people to higher level products, where the webinar is sort of the lead magnet. But if your CDT score, your critical density test score, is high enough, then you will not need a lead magnet to book calls with strangers. Because if you can book calls with strangers, why would you dilute your efforts and build another parallel funnel for a lead magnet if you could simply just build a funnel for booking calls with people? If there are enough people who book sales calls with you, this is the best route to $1 million in revenue. For example, if you sell something for $5,000 a month, all you need to do is to get 17 clients, 17 recurring clients at $5,000 a month means $1 million in revenue. And if, let's say, 1 out of 500 people who you approach becomes a client, right? Let's say you approach 100 people, you book 2 calls. So over 500 people that you approach, you book 10 calls and one of them closes. Boom. One person for 500 becomes a client. That means you need to approach 8,500 people in order to get 17 clients. Don't make it more complicated than that. Simple scales, complex fails. And this, the complexity, is the reason why you should actively refrain from building a lead magnet. Even if all your competitors are doing it and you're having a huge lead magnet envy, you're actually less likely to achieve that $1 million in revenue if you're faffing around with a lead magnet. And here's why. It's messy and complicated. Instead of 1 funnel for your service, you now have 2. 1 for the lead magnet, 1 for your main service. You've just doubled the client acquisition effort. Also because it's a slightly different skill set to get people to sign up to the lead magnet versus to sign up for the main service. To sign up for the lead magnet, you need to also write quite good copy, right? There needs to be a landing page where they sign up for whatever your lead magnet is, and you need to convince them through the power of the written word alone. When it comes to booking sales calls, you need to become really good at sales calls and the surrounding elements. For example, you have an email drip that kind of warms people up to it. After a call, if you're booking a second call, you should have something between the first and the second call, some kind of email drip there and all of that. Those are different skills. And so if you're trying to dance on 2 weddings, you're not going to have fun in either one of them. Also, for it to be really successful, a lead magnet needs to be pretty good. The days when you could collect leads with just a lazily slapped together PDF ebook are pretty much over. These days, when there's so much great value for free online, you cannot just phone it in. And so all of that extra time dedicated to creating the lead magnet funnel, you could just be dedicating it to optimizing your onboarding journey for leads who you take on a sales call. And this is truly a matter of philosophy. Do you want to be one of those restaurants that sells pizza, burger, sushi, and kebab? Or do you want to be Five Guys, a big restaurant chain that are specializing in burgers, fries, and milkshakes? That's it. If you don't bother with a lead magnet, if you're just focusing on that one thing that you're selling, you're being Five Guys. Better is a better way to scale than more. But now you will say, well, Michael, I could just build a lead magnet for those people who need a little bit more time so that I can warm them up so that gradually they will become open to having a call with me. My response to that is, you don't need a lead magnet for that. They can gradually warm to you if you just simply put out regular good content on one or two platforms, let's say LinkedIn and YouTube, and you maybe have an email list so that you can stay in touch with some of those who are not on those platforms very frequently. So LinkedIn, YouTube, and an email list, that's it, nothing more. Focus on adding as much value as you can in those channels. Figure out the mechanics of every platform so that you become popular on both, but you don't need to build an extra lead magnet so that people can take this interim step. You can take them just from consumers of your content to people who book calls with you. Content, of course, has to be a very important element in your marketing mix, right? You don't want to be reaching out to people and doing cold emailing forever. While you're doing this, you are building up your content brand so that people will at some point start coming to you directly. But for none of this do you need an actual lead magnet. Always remember, the grass is greener where you water it. Don't water your side shows, water the main thing.